Now the Philistines gathered their forces for war and assembled at Soko in Judah. The Philistines occupied one hill and the Israelites another, with the valley between them. A champion named Goliath, who was from Gath, came out of the Philistine camp. His height was 6 cubits and a span. He had a bronze helmet on his head and a coat of scale armor of bronze weighing 5,000 shekels. His spear shaft was like a weaver's rod, and its iron point weighed 600 shekels. His shield bearer went ahead of him. Goliath stood and shouted to the ranks of Israel, "Why do you come out and line up for battle? Am I not a Philistine, and are you not servants of Saul? Choose a man and have him come down to me. If he is able to fight and kill me, we will become your subjects, but if I overcome and kill him, you will become our subjects and serve us." Then the Philistines said, "This day I defy the armies of Israel. Give me a man and let us fight each other." And on hearing the Philistines' words, Saul and the Israelites were dismayed and terrified. So in these verses, we're reminded that David is the youngest of 8 sons, and his father Jesse gives him a task to take to his brothers who are in the Israelite army food and supplies. And so we find David in verse 20 leaves the sheep that he's caring for early in the morning. He loads up and he sets out for the Israelite army to bring these supplies to his brothers. And David happens to arrive when Goliath is issuing his daily challenge. And so when we back up here at verse 23, we will find David overhearing Goliath's challenge to the Israelites. As he was talking with them, Goliath, the Philistine champion from Gath, stepped out from his lines and shouted his usual defiance, and David heard it. Whenever the Israelites saw the man, they all fled from him in great fear. Now the Israelites had been saying, "Do you see how this man keeps coming out? He comes to defy Israel. The king will give great wealth to the man who kills him. He will also give him his daughter in marriage and will exempt his family from taxes in Israel." Now David asked the men standing near him, "What will be done for the man who kills this Philistine and removes this disgrace from Israel? Who is this uncircumcised Philistine that he should defy the armies of the living God?" And they repeated to him what they had been saying and told him, "This is what will be done for the man who kills him." When Eliab, David's oldest brother, heard him speaking with the men, he burned with anger at him and asked, "Why have you come down here? I know how conceited you are and how wicked your heart is. You came down only to watch the battle." "Now what have I done?" said David. "Can I not speak?" What David said was overheard and reported to Saul, and Saul sent for him. David said to Saul, "Let no one lose heart on account of this Philistine. Your servant will go and fight him." Saul replied, "You were not able to go out against this Philistine and fight him. You were only a young man, and he has been a warrior from his youth." But David said to Saul, "Your servant has been keeping his father's sheep, and when a lion or bear came and carried off a sheep from the flock, I went after it, struck it, and rescued the sheep from its mouth. Your servant has killed both the lion and the bear. This uncircumcised Philistine will be like one of them, because he has defiled the armies of the living God. The Lord who rescued me from the paw of the lion and the paw of the bear will rescue me from the hand of this Philistine." Saul said to David, "Go, and the Lord be with you." I graduated from high school not too terribly long ago in June of 2006, and I thought it would be interesting to share a little bit of what was going on in the world at that time. The second Pirates of the Caribbean movie had just come out, Dead Man's Chest, and I believe there are 5 of those now. The Carolina Hurricanes won their first Stanley Cup ever in Raleigh on June 19th, so special day for me especially. The number one Billboard song at that time was by a performer of this year's Super Bowl halftime show, Shakira. Her song "Hips Don't Lie" was the number one song on the Billboard charts at that time. And the biggest news of that time wasn't really big news. I tried to look and Google and find out what was going on in the world and in our nation at that time that was newsworthy. And honestly, the biggest story that I found was that President Bush wanted to try some prisoners at Guantanamo Bay using a military tribunal, a military court, instead of a civil court. And the U.S. Supreme Court said that that would violate U.S. and international law, so they didn't do it. That was the biggest news story that I could find at the time. Things were relatively quiet. Most of the world seemed to be at peace. And I know when I walked across the stage at Smithfield Selma High School on June 6th, 2006, I didn't have a single worry on my mind about the state of the world. And here we are, 14 years later, June 2020, and the world has changed a lot, hasn't it? While I had to scour the internet to find anything newsworthy from June 2006, today all we need to do is flip through social media or turn on the news or even glance at a newspaper, and we are surrounded with headlines that have words like pandemic, riots, battle, and hate. We have seen more global crises in the first 6 months of this 2020 year than many have seen in a lifetime on this earth. And so, to our graduates, this is the world that you are entering, a world of unrest, of tremendous challenges and mounting tension, and in some places, even chaos. And so I feel like it would be unfair of me and unjust to offer to you a happy, cliche type of message that doesn't acknowledge that things are not okay. And that's why I picked the passage for today about David and Goliath for this occasion, because for the Israelites, things are not okay in this story. They and the Philistines are at war, and every day this enormous man named Goliath steps out between the battle lines and issues a challenge to the Israelite army, and he mocks them. Goliath is 6 cubits and a span, we're told in the story, which equates to about 9 foot 9 inches tall. His spearhead alone weighed 15 pounds, and the coat of armor that he wore, made of bronze, weighed 125 pounds. So this is an incredibly strong, enormous man. And understandably, every day when Goliath comes out to issue this challenge, to invite someone to come and fight him, the Israelites all cower in fear. No one would dare step up and challenge him. But then David enters the story. David, you may remember, was the youngest of 8 sons, and he had several jobs and responsibilities as a young man. He cared for his family's sheep. He served under King Saul as a musician in the royal court. And now that the Israelites were at war, it was his job to take food and supplies to his brothers who were soldiers in the army. And so David happens to be there one day at the battle lines when Goliath comes out and issues his daily challenge and mocks the Israelites. And David hears this and he says, "Who is this Philistine that he should defy the army of God? Who does he think he is? I don't care how big or how mighty he is. This is not right." And David's oldest brother Eliab scolds David and says, "You don't know what you're talking about. Be quiet and mind your own business." But as David continually hears Goliath taunting the Israelites and mocking the God that they believe in and serve, he returns to King Saul and says, "Look, tell everyone to take heart and no longer be afraid of this man. I'm going to go fight this bully." And Saul, caring for David, says, "David, you are just a boy. This man has been a mighty warrior longer than you've ever been alive. Get your head together. You're not going to go do this." But David says, "No, I've been a shepherd. I've defended my family's sheep from lions and other wild animals, I can hold my own. This is not right that he daily comes out and taunts our army and the God that we serve and believe in. So David takes 5 smooth stones and a sling and his staff and goes out to meet Goliath. And as he walks out to him in between the battle lines, Goliath, with his mean and nasty attitude, he laughs at David and curses him and says, "Today the wild animals of the field and the birds of the air will feast on your flesh." And yet here's David, a young boy, looking straight up at this enormous man clad in bronze and armor and mighty weapons. And with absolute courage, David says, "You come to me today with a sword and a spear and a javelin, but I come to you today in the name of the living God, the God of Israel's army." And of course, we know the rest is history. David defeats and kills Goliath and gains victory for the Israelite army. Graduates, there are Goliaths in our world today that mock the ideals of God's kingdom and defy all that is good. There's the Goliath of a pandemic that's claimed now over 400,000 lives, and the numbers continue to rise. There are the Goliaths of poverty and racism and climate change, Goliaths of corruption and war and division and hatred. And these Goliaths are terrifying. They overshadow and oppress people all over the world. And like the Israelite soldiers, most people are paralyzed by fear, unable to do anything in their presence. But not David. And I hope, 2020 graduates, not you. Today, I want to challenge each of you to be the Davids that this world needs, to face the Goliaths of our time with boldness and courage. These issues, they are overwhelming and they seem impossible to conquer. But like David, God has given you gifts and experiences and passions and skills that can empower you to change the world. All it took for David to silence the mighty giant was one stone. All it may take for you to conquer the Goliaths of our time is one idea, one invention, one act of compassion or bravery or kindness. And this is difficult work. People who are too afraid or too apathetic to face these issues themselves may criticize you and try to discourage you from taking action. You may hear the same words spoken to you that David's oldest brother Eliab and Saul spoke to him, saying, "You're too young, you're too small, you're too insignificant and inexperienced to do anything about these issues. Why don't you just get in line like the rest of us?" Ignore those voices. They are wrong. With just a shepherd's sling and a small stone, one young boy changed the course of God's people forever. You can go out into the world with boldness. You can stare down the issues and the crises of our time and say with absolute certainty, just as David did, "I come today in the name of the Lord, the living God." As you graduate and move to the next chapter of your lives, know that you do not go alone. You have family and friends that love you and support you. You have a church family that loves you and is so proud of you and prays for you and will always be there for you. And most importantly, you have a God that loves you and sustains you and empowers you, the same God that empowered David to conquer his Goliath. God will walk with you every step of the way. He loves you and will equip you with what you need to face and conquer the world's Goliaths. He gives you the stones of peace and compassion and justice and truth and love. The presence of God and these 5 things are all that you need to live a victorious life and to better your communities and the lives of those around you, and to be the Davids that this world so desperately needs. And so I want to share in closing some words with you that Paul shared with his young protege, Timothy. And it's a passage of scripture that is often used in graduate Sundays, but I think in the context of our world today, it's needed more than ever. Paul says, "Don't let anyone look down on you because you are young, but set an example for the believers in speech, in conduct, in love, in faith, and in purity." So graduates, when I look at you and know who you are and the young men and women that you are, the energy that you bring to the world, the ideas and the passion that you have to make things better, I think about when I'm an old man and I look at your generation and when you've left your mark on the world, I feel hopeful and I feel inspired, because even now, you and your generation encourages adults like me to be better and to do better. So thank you for setting that example, and thank you for going into the world with courage to make things better, to say things are not okay the way they are. These Goliaths will be conquered, and the world will look more like God's kingdom. May we all take the stones of peace and compassion and justice and truth and love today and go out to conquer the Goliaths of our world, and therefore make a better world for us all. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, our one God forever. Amen.
Hi, my name is Tiffany. I'm from the MOTTERN family. I just graduated from the WOODCREEK Academy, top of my class. For right now, I'm just going to further my future in retail management, hopefully, and then as far as college goes, I'm interested in being an EMT. Thanks for all your love and support. Love and miss you all.
Hey everyone, my name is Anna Smith and I'm a graduate from South Johnston High School, and I will be attending JCC to get a degree in cosmetology. Thank you.
My name is Joshua Williams. I graduated with the IB class of 2020 at SSS High School. I'll be attending the Ohio State University in the fall of 2020 to pursue a degree in aeronautical and astronautical engineering.
Hi everyone, this is Candace. I hope this finds you all well and happy and at peace. I sure do miss seeing you all. I'm here today to help acknowledge and congratulate our high school seniors, Tiffany MOTTERN, Trey Penny, Anna Smith, and Josh Williams. We want you all to know how proud we are of you for accomplishing this important milestone in your life, and because it's such an important foundation to carry you through the rest of your life. So we're very proud of you, and on behalf of the United Methodist Women and our church, we have a gift for you of the devotion book, and that you can take with you and help you to stay close to God and be encouraged by Him and by the words that it shares with you. And we have a 30-ounce water bottle for you to take and stay hydrated. And we look forward to hearing from each of you and what your plans are for the future. So just know that we love you, and we're going to be supporting you and encouraging you throughout the rest of your journey to whatever you do after your graduation. Be sure to give Tyler your information and address, how to contact you, and your church family will be sending words of encouragement and care packages to you wherever you are. So be sure to let him know that. So congratulations, and we love you. And I also get the honor of presenting the 2020 United Methodist Women $450 scholarship to this year's recipient. And I want to share some information on this recipient with you before presenting it to them. She was very involved throughout high school, participating in various clubs and in leadership, where she was a Trojan ambassador, and was the North Carolina HOSA State Leadership Conference in 2019. She was a cheerleader in her freshman and sophomore year and on the swim team in her junior and senior years. She made the principal's list, the honor roll. She won first runner-up in the Talent Award in the 2018 Miss South Johnston pageant. She's been actively involved in dance from 2011 to 2018, including dance competitions and receiving numerous dance awards. Her community service includes Backpack Buddies, where she helped pack 72 bags each month for our Backpack Buddies ministries. She was involved with American Red Cross, Society of St. Andrews Potato Gleaning, Four Oaks Elementary Volunteer, the Mercy Center, Samaritan's Purse, Operations Christmas Child. She's had numerous types of work experience, including babysitting, pet caregiver, sales associate, and hairstylist assistant in 2 different salons. But the most meaningful and perhaps the primary reason she is deserving of this scholarship is her dedication to Jesus and her church. She's been coming to 4X United Methodist Church since her birth, beginning with her baptism in 2002 and confirmation in 2014. She has been honoring her commitment to God by faithfully participating in its ministries. And those include Sunday school from 2002 to present. She had Perfect Attendance Award 1 year. She's been an acolyte from 2010 to 2015 and a cross bearer from 2016 to present. She's participated in the annual children's Christmas programs, helping with that. JAM in 2010 to 2013. She's been in the youth group from 2013 to the present. She attends the Wednesday night Bible studies, participating in annual Youth Sunday, nursery worker from 2013 to the present. She's been a children's church assistant from 2013 to the present, and attended Vacation Bible School from 2004 to 2016. And then after that, she became a guide, a music leader, and a science leader for Vacation Bible School. She's also been a Sunday school teacher and has been involved with the Safe Sanctuary Committee as a committee member. So I would like to, as part of the application, they have to present a 1-page essay describing how the church has impacted their life, share future goals and what they hope to accomplish, and also describe how they will apply spiritual lessons in the future. So I actually would like to read her essay for you because it was just very touching to me and very meaningful to us as the committee to decide who receives this scholarship. So it reads, 4X United Methodist Church has been a big part of my life since I was born. I remember my mom telling me how she didn't volunteer as a VBS helper during the 2002 VBS because my due date was during that week. Then I was actually born right around 12 noon on VBS Sunday. So every VBS celebration Sunday since 2002, we think back to my birth because Mom always said, "You know you were born on VBS Celebration Sunday." Baby nursery didn't have any Sunday school teachers when I was born, so Mom and Dad volunteered as nursery workers. And from what I understand, because I don't remember, I was pretty much the only baby in the nursery at the time, but I earned perfect attendance for the first year of my life. I owe that all to them. As I grew as a child of God because of my parents and because of my church family. I have always felt such love and kindness from my teachers. From an early age, I was taught songs and stories of how Jesus loves me and how he loves everyone else in the world too. I even saw this love through my teachers as they taught me. I didn't know it then, but in looking back, it is very evident. Everyone at 4X United Methodist Church has loved and supported me as long as I can remember. What is so great about a church family is they love you with a Jesus kind of love and support you all the time. They don't turn away when times are trying. In fact, that's when they show up the most That's when they show the most love and support. They show up in celebration, they show up in sadness, they show up in sporting events, in sickness, and in prayer. 4-H United Methodist Church, not the place, but the people, has taught me that it's not only about what you do on Sunday, it's also about what you do every other day to show real love and kindness like Jesus. After high school, I plan to attend either Johnston Community College or Wake Technical Community College to obtain a Cosmetology Associate of Applied Science degree. When I complete the program, I will be qualified to take the NC State Board examination. With a passing score, I will be qualified to work in cosmetology salons throughout North Carolina. Initially, I see myself renting a booth in a larger upscale salon, maybe even one that I'm currently working in, to build my clientele, but maybe one day I could consider owning my own business as my skill set is more developed. It is also my goal to extend my service to pageant contestants, brides, prom attendees, etc., on a fee-for-service basis, but also to individuals and families that may not have the financial resources to pay. Everyone deserves to feel beautiful at special times in their lives. By obtaining this 2-year degree, I will also be eligible to transfer to a 4-year college or university at a later time if my goals shift and require further education. Proverbs 3:5-6 says, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart and do not lean on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him and he will make straight your paths." As a Christian, I know I can trust God. I understand that I have to work hard, pray for his will, do my part by making good decisions, and know that God's plans for me are perfect. So I am very proud to present this year's 2020 United Methodist Women's Scholarship of $450 to Anna Maxine Smith. And you have a treat because she's here today to receive it. There you go, congratulations. Also, I didn't mention this earlier, but we also want to say congratulations to our college graduates, Ethan Faulkner and McKinley Johnson. So congratulations to you both. And thank you all very much and hope to see you soon. Bye-bye.